The Missouri concealed carry law has undergone a few slight changes. There should be no interruption in service during the transition. KCPD's nationally recognized Sergeant Ward Smith explains what the tweaking of the law means.
In the past, you could opt for, and I think the default position was to put that designation on driver's licenses. At this point, they're going to be separated, so you'll have a driver's license and a permit separate from each other. For a while, I think it's the rest of this year, but at the first of the year, the state's been mandated to have the capability of handing you a hard copy. Until then, they're going to be printing up CCW licenses, and they're going to be on card stock. Probably not real good for longevity, but you can always get it laminated or something like that. But after the first of the year, they're going to have a hard card that you can carry separate from your driver's license. At some point in time, some of the records from Missouri were forwarded to the Social Security Commission. They were going to do a cross-check, and on the surface, it all sounded very logical. Reasoning to actually do something like that, but people were there was some concern that people might become part of a national registry or something like that. And I think the concern is to be identified as somebody that owns weapons might open you up to some kind of nefarious action by either the criminal element or something like that. So and I think there's a fear too that with some of the recent things that have come out in reference to some of the stuff going on with information and the government watching citizens in the United States, that this might become part of that whole thing. So just to avoid that, they've separated the two things, and one thing has very little to do with the other, with the driver's licenses and the licensing. Part of the change too is that they've gone back and tried to clean up some of the certifications on instructors. In the past, that wasn't clearly delineated, who could instruct and who was qualified to instruct. So the language in the amendment to the laws have kind of cleaned that all up, and generally speaking, somebody with a law enforcement background or somebody that's been certified by a recognized firearms entity, training entity, and then those people that want to carry on the CCW training would need to submit that and be approved so they could actually conduct the training, and that it be recognized by the state as being legitimate. Each county sheriff is being charged with the responsibility of issuing those new CCW cards. So it'll have, in the long run, it'll have something to do with the Department of Revenue, but it'll be up to different sheriff's departments to administrate getting those permits out to everybody. And like I said, after the first year, people that subsequently come in and get a CCW or renew a CCW will get a hard card instead of the paper cards that they're going to be issuing out between now and the end of the year. And if I would say that people that have questions about that, look for the number for the sheriff's department in your particular county that you live in, and they've got it backwards and forwards on this whole thing. They've been made aware of the changes and everything, and I'm sure they have somebody that's part of their job is assigned to answer any questions and allay anybody's fear in reference to what's going to happen with their CCW permit.
As of July of this year, all 50 states have some sort of concealed carry law. Some states issue permits to residents and non-residents, while approximately a dozen states will issue permits to residents only. Both Kansas and Missouri allow private businesses to post gun-free zones. I'm Officer Shelley Gaddis. Have a safe week.